Welcome to Zoe Stories. Mom's experiment. Now I'm her feminine daughter. I always hated mirrors. Not because I was ugly, at least not in the traditional sense. My face was plain, forgettable, a soft jawline and narrow shoulders that never matched the idea of manhood people expected. I was 19 years old, but if you put me in a hoodie and jeans, most people guessed 16. Some even asked if I was my mom's daughter. Maybe that was why I kept my head down most of the time. I didn't like standing out. I didn't like being noticed at all. Home was quiet, but even there I felt like I was being studied. My mom, Dr. Veronica Hale, wasn't the type of mother who baked cookies or fussed over chores. She was a clinical psychologist, a woman of structure and intellect. Everything in her life was an experiment, an observation, a pattern to be decoded. Including me. "Ethan, you spend too much time in your room," she said one evening as I sat hunched over my laptop, trying to escape into online forums about gaming and writing. Her voice was calm, sharp, the way she spoke to her patients. "You need confidence. You need to step into the world." I mumbled something non-committal. "I'm fine, Mom." "You're not," she replied immediately, as though she had rehearsed the answer. "You're isolated, withdrawn, afraid of challenges. That's not a sustainable life." I stiffened. I hated how she could slice me open with words like a scalpel. "I'm not afraid." She tilted her head, her sleek black hair tied back in a bun, glasses perched on the bridge of her nose. "Then prove it." I didn't know then what she meant, but the look in her eyes unsettled me. It wasn't maternal concern. It was curiosity. Like I was already part of a study she hadn't told me about. Underscore 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 underscore. That night, I couldn't sleep. Her words circled in my head like shadows. "You're afraid. Prove it." Prove it how? By talking to strangers? By joining some sports team? I wasn't built for any of that. My body was lean, narrow, my hands slender. I wasn't strong like other boys. And deep down, part of me feared she was right. Maybe I was afraid of the world. When morning came, she was already in the kitchen, sipping coffee, notebook open with scribbles I wasn't supposed to understand. "Sit," she said, motioning to the chair across from her. My stomach tightened. Am I in trouble? Her lips curved into a faint smile.
"No, Ethan."
"You're my son. You can't be in trouble with me." "But I have a proposal." I frowned. "Proposal?" She closed the notebook and looked at me with eyes that were too calculating to be casual. "You know I've been studying gender expression and identity for my latest research. The way society molds us, how people react when expectations are disrupted. I need a subject. Someone I can trust." I blinked. "And you want me?" "Who else?" she asked smoothly. "You're perfect. You're young, you're still forming your sense of self," and she paused deliberately. "You have the kind of appearance that could adapt." My face burned. Adapt how? She leaned forward, voice soft but laced with authority. "I want you to pretend to be my daughter. Just for a little while. For my research. Nothing dangerous. You dress differently, act differently, let me document reactions. It could build your confidence. Push you out of your shell." I stared at her, heart pounding. Pretend to be her daughter? "That's crazy," I whispered. "Is it?" she countered, arching an eyebrow. "You already avoid being seen as a man. You shrink, you hide. Why not explore the opposite? Why not see what happens when you step into a role no one expects from you?" Her words hit too close. I hated how easily she unraveled me. "This isn't therapy," I muttered. She reached out, resting a manicured hand over mine. Her tone softened, becoming almost tender. "Ethan, I want to help you. I see you struggling, lost in your own skin. Maybe this experiment could be the key. For my research, yes, but also for you. Trust me." Her eyes locked on mine, steady, unwavering. She always knew how to corner me without raising her voice. I don't know. Just try, she urged. One outfit. One evening. If you hate it, we'll stop. My throat tightened.
Part of me wanted to refuse outright.
But another part, small, scared, uncertain, wondered if maybe she was right. Maybe I was hiding too much. Maybe I was afraid to be anyone at all. Fine, I said at last, barely above a whisper. Her smile deepened. Not warm, not relieved, satisfied. Like a scientist who just secured her perfect subject. That evening, she knocked on my bedroom door carrying a garment bag. Ready? She asked, stepping inside before I could answer. What's in there? I asked nervously. She unzipped it with deliberate slowness. My breath caught. Inside was a pale lavender dress, delicate and soft, with lace along the collar. It looked fragile, impossible, something meant for a girl's body, not mine. I can't wear that, I blurted. You promised, she reminded gently, though her eyes glittered with control. One evening. That's all. I shook my head, backing away. Mom, it's too much. She set the dress on my bed and crossed her arms. Ethan, you told me you're not afraid. Prove it. If you're brave, you can endure one experiment. If not, she let the words linger, then maybe you are weaker than I thought. Her challenge cut me deeper than any insult. My fists clenched. I hated when she framed things that way, like my entire worth was on trial. I swallowed hard.
Fine.
Just one evening. Her smile returned, soft but triumphant. Good boy. Or rather, good girl. The word stung, yet I couldn't look away from the dress. When I finally slipped it on, the fabric was alien against my skin. Too smooth, too fragile. It clung in places I didn't want it to. My reflection in the mirror made my stomach twist. Pale legs, narrow frame. The dress transforming me into something unfamiliar. My mom stood behind me, adjusting the straps, brushing hair from my forehead. See, she murmured. You were made for this. I wanted to protest, to tear it off. But for a fleeting, terrifying moment, I saw what she meant. The reflection wasn't Ethan. It was someone prettier, softer, someone who might actually belong in that dress. And that was the most frightening thing of all. Tomorrow, she whispered, we'll try makeup. Ethan is left staring at the mirror, caught between shame and a flicker of dangerous curiosity. Sleep didn't come easily. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the reflection again. The boy who wasn't a boy, the stranger in lavender staring back with wide, terrified eyes. By morning, I hoped maybe my mom had forgotten. Maybe it was just a moment, a strange detour in her research that would fade away. But when I entered the kitchen, she was already there, hair perfectly coiled, notebook open, coffee steaming. And in front of her a small black makeup bag. My stomach sank. Good morning, she said smoothly, as if this were any other day.
Eat something.
We have work to do. I froze. Work. Field work, she corrected, flipping a page in her notebook. If you're going to convincingly play my daughter, you need to look the part. Yesterday was a test. Today we refine. I sat down slowly, my hands trembling against the chair. I thought it was just one evening. She smiled faintly, sipping her coffee. That's what you told yourself. But Ethan, you don't break a habit of hiding overnight. Progress requires repetition. Besides, her eyes glinted behind her glasses. You looked beautiful yesterday. Didn't you feel it? Even for a second? My throat tightened. I wanted to say no. I wanted to laugh it off, deny it, but the memory of that fleeting moment, the shimmer of recognition in the mirror, kept betraying me. I don't know, I whispered. That's enough, she replied firmly. Confusion means there's something to uncover. And that's exactly what this experiment is about. She didn't wait for me to agree. Within minutes, she had ushered me into her room, her private domain, where everything was pristine and controlled. The bed was neatly made, shelves lined with books and case files. In front of the vanity, she had already laid out the tools of her craft: foundation, brushes, lipsticks in muted tones.
Sit.
I obeyed reluctantly, my heart hammering. She brushed her fingers along my cheek, tilting my face toward the mirror. Relax. You don't need to fight me. Just let me show you. The first touch of foundation was startling, cool against my skin, then warm as she blended it in. She worked with practiced precision, dabbing, brushing, layering. Every stroke stripped away Ethan and replaced him with something smoother, something less defined, like clay being reshaped. I watched in fragments, lashes darkened, lips tinted, eyebrows refined. Slowly, unbearably, the boy I knew vanished. When she finally leaned back, satisfaction lit her face. Look. I hesitated, then forced myself to meet the mirror. The reflection stole my breath. It wasn't over the top. She hadn't painted me like a caricature. It was subtle, almost natural. My skin glowed, my eyes looked larger, softer. My lips had a faint pink sheen that made them seem vulnerable. For the first time, I didn't just look young, I looked feminine. I looked pretty. The realization struck like lightning. Mom, my voice cracked, thin and uncertain. She placed a hand on my shoulder. That's not your name right now. I blinked.
What?
You're not Ethan when you look like this. You need a name. Something to separate the experiment from the old you. My chest tightened. I don't know. She studied me for a long moment, then smiled. How about Elena? It suits you. Soft, delicate, graceful. Elena, I repeated weakly, the word foreign yet strangely magnetic. Yes, she murmured, pleased. From now on, when you're like this, you're my daughter Elena. I shook my head, panic rising. But I'm not. You are for today, she cut in smoothly. Her tone was final, unyielding. The next step was clothes. She guided me toward the closet where she had already prepared a second outfit, a simple skirt, white blouse, and a cardigan. Not as dramatic as the lavender dress, but more dangerous in a way, because it was casual, believable. I can't wear this, I protested, clutching the fabric. You can, she corrected firmly. And you will. Experiments require commitment. Tears burned behind my eyes, but I changed anyway. The skirt swished around my thighs, the blouse tightened slightly against my narrow chest. The cardigan framed me in a way that blurred every trace of masculinity. When I looked in the mirror again, the boy was gone. Only Elena stood there, hesitant, trembling, undeniably feminine. And then she said the words that froze my blood. Perfect. Because today, Elena, we're going out. My head snapped toward her. What? You heard me. You need to see how the world reacts. This isn't just about looking the part. It's about being the part. Walking, speaking, moving through public spaces. If you can't, the experiment means nothing. I can't do that, I whispered. You can, she insisted, her voice cold steel wrapped in velvet. I'll be with you. No one will know. They'll just see a mother and daughter shopping. No. I shook my head violently, panic swelling in my chest. Mom, I'll mess up. They'll know. They'll laugh. Then prove me wrong, she snapped suddenly, her tone cutting. Or admit you're too afraid to even try. The words hit me like a slap. My entire life, I had avoided confrontation, avoided risk, avoided proving anything. And here she was, dangling the challenge in front of me again. My hands shook. My breathing was shallow. But in the end, I nodded weakly. Her smile returned. Good girl. The drive to the mall was a blur. I sat rigid in the passenger seat, tugging at the hem of my skirt, terrified that every passing car could see through the windows. My heart thundered so hard I thought I might faint before we even arrived. When we stepped inside the mall, the noise crashed over me, voices, footsteps, music, the rustle of shopping bags. I wanted to sink into the floor. Every glance felt like a spotlight, every laugh like it was aimed at me. But then something strange happened. No one stared. Two teenage girls brushed past me, giggling, but they didn't stop. A man at the coffee kiosk barely glanced up. A mother walked by with her toddler, smiling faintly in our direction, as though nothing were unusual. They believed it. I was Elena to them. Not Ethan in a skirt. The realization both horrified and electrified me. Relax, my mom whispered beside me, her arm brushing mine.
See?
No one suspects. You're safe. But safety wasn't what I felt. It was exposure, raw and terrifying, yet threaded with a dangerous thrill. We stopped at a clothing store, racks of pastel dresses and lace blouses surrounding us. My mom handed me items one by one, commanding me to try them on. Each time I emerged from the dressing room, she made me stand in front of the mirror, adjusting my posture, correcting my stance. Chin up, Elena. Shoulders back. Don't slouch. You'll look insecure. Shoppers glanced my way, some smiling, some indifferent. My cheeks burned with humiliation. And then, as I turned in one outfit, a soft blue dress with a cinched waist, a sales clerk approached. You look adorable, she said warmly. That color suits you. My breath caught. She wasn't mocking me. She wasn't suspicious.
She was complimenting me.
For a split second, I felt something bloom in my chest.
Pride. Joy.
The tiniest thrill of being seen as beautiful. Then guilt swallowed it whole.
This isn't me.
This is a lie. I'm Ethan, not Elena. But when I caught my mom's reflection in the mirror, she was watching intently, her smile unreadable. Thank you, she told the clerk smoothly, as if we had rehearsed this 1,000 times. My daughter is a little shy.
Daughter.
The word clung to me like a brand, inescapable. That night, back home, I ripped the dress off as soon as I reached my room. I scrubbed the makeup away, desperate to see Ethan again. But even barefaced, with the skirt discarded on the floor, something inside me felt altered. I had been seen. I had been called pretty. And part of me wanted it again. Ethan collapses on his bed, wrestling with guilt and confusion. Meanwhile, Veronica, notebook in hand, writes a single line. Subject shows signs of identity disruption after first public exposure. I stared at the box, lying on my bed as if it contained a live snake. Mom had left it there, casually, with a smile that carried too much weight. Inside was a dress, soft fabric, pale pink, delicate lace trimming the hem. Just try it on, Danielle, she had said. For the experiment. Humor me. My throat tightened. I was 18, barely comfortable in my own skin, and the thought of slipping into that dress sent heat rushing to my face. It wasn't just embarrassment. It was something else, something I didn't want to name. I touched the fabric with trembling fingers. It was smooth, softer than any shirt I owned. My heartbeat quickened. This is insane. I can't. What if she's watching? But then I heard her voice calling from the hallway. I'll be waiting downstairs, sweetheart. Take your time. Sweetheart. The word echoed in my chest. She had never called me that before. With shaky breaths, I undressed. Standing in my room in just boxers, I caught sight of myself in the mirror. My reflection looked small, fragile, even before the transformation. The thought whispered in my head. What if she's right? What if this fits me more than I want to admit? I slipped the dress over my head. The fabric hugged my body, skimming down my chest, catching at my waist, falling over my thighs. It was light, too light, almost dangerous. When I turned to face the mirror, I froze. The boy I had known was fading. In his place, a softer outline, something in between, something vulnerable yet strangely captivating. My legs felt weak. Why does this look right? Danielle? Mom's voice drifted up the stairs. I panicked. I am not ready, but the door creaked open anyway. She stepped inside, eyes scanning me slowly, almost clinically at first, then warmly, with a kind of satisfaction that terrified me. Beautiful, she whispered. I knew it. My chest burned. This isn't me. I look stupid. She walked closer, tilting her head, studying me like a work of art. Then she placed her hands gently on my shoulders. You don't look stupid, darling. You look perfect. The word hit harder than I expected. Perfect. My eyes darted back to the mirror. For a second, I let myself believe it. My lips parted slightly, my posture shifted without meaning to. But then shame crashed down. I tore my gaze away. This is wrong.
I'm your son, not.
She pressed a finger to my lips. For the experiment, you're my daughter now.
Just for a little while.
Don't fight it. My body trembled under her touch. A storm of fear, humiliation, and something darker. Something dangerously close to desire. Before I could protest again, she lifted a brush and whispered, "Let's finish what we started." She pulled me into the chair before the vanity mirror, the same mirror where my reflection already looked unrecognizable. And as she set the brush against my hair, smoothing it with deliberate care, my throat went dry. For the first time, I wondered, if I let this go further, would I ever come back? Mom has crossed the line, not just dressing him, but beginning the makeover. Daniel feels himself slipping further into the role she insists on. His fear is mixed with a dangerous fascination. The brush glided through my hair with slow, deliberate strokes. Each pull seemed to unravel more than tangles. It tugged at my identity, my resistance. Mom hummed softly, almost too calmly, as if this were the most natural thing in the world. "You've always had such fine hair, Daniel. I can't believe I never noticed how beautiful it could look when styled properly." My jaw clenched. "Mom, this doesn't feel right." Her eyes met mine in the mirror, calm but firm. "It's not supposed to feel right yet. That's the point. Growth always feels uncomfortable." Uncomfortable? That word barely touched what I was feeling. My chest was tight, heat burning across my skin. I wanted to rip the dress off, run upstairs, and bury myself under my old hoodies. But some part of me, traitorous, curious, sat frozen in the chair, waiting to see what I'd look like when she was finished. She parted my hair with precision, twisting and clipping sections until strands framed my face differently.
Softer.
Rounder. Feminine. Then came the makeup. She opened a small case with a click, and rows of colors gleamed like weapons. "Hold still, sweetheart." The pet name again. It landed differently now, gentler, like it was being trained into me. The first touch of the foundation brush startled me. Cool, smooth cream spread across my cheeks, blending away the boyish roughness I was used to. With each stroke, my reflection blurred further from the boy I knew. "Close your eyes," she instructed. The faint dust of eyeshadow followed, a shimmer catching the light. Then the tickle of mascara on my lashes. Each layer trapped me deeper. I could feel the weight of it, subtle but undeniable, as though the paint wasn't on my skin but inside me, rewriting who I was. When she leaned back, she smiled knowingly. "Look." I turned toward the mirror and forgot how to breathe. The reflection staring back wasn't mine. Not really. The softness of the dress, the contouring of my cheekbones, the way my lashes framed my widened eyes, it all screamed girl. For a moment, I whispered without meaning to, "Pretty." Then I clapped a hand over my mouth, horrified that the word had slipped out. Mom caught it instantly, her lips curving with satisfaction.
"Yes.
"You are pretty. You always could be. You just never let yourself see it." Tears stung my eyes. "I don't want this." "I'm your son." Her hands came down on my shoulders again, grounding me, trapping me. Her tone was soft but unyielding. "For the experiment, Daniel, you're my daughter. The sooner you accept that, the easier this will be." Her certainty made my stomach churn. Part of me wanted to scream. Part of me wanted to lean into her words and believe them. She wasn't done. From the jewelry box, she drew a delicate silver chain with a heart pendant. She fastened it around my neck, the charm resting just above the neckline of the dress. The cool metal felt like a lock, sealing me in. Mom's smile widened. "Now,
Danielle."
that's what I'll call you when you're like this." The name hit harder than the makeup, harder than the dress. I looked back at the mirror, whispering it under my breath. Danielle. Who was that girl in the reflection? And why did some part of me ache to know her? Daniel has been fully made over for the first time. The dress, the makeup, the necklace, and now the new name, Danielle. His old self is slipping, replaced by someone unfamiliar, yet disturbingly real. The house felt safe, or at least safer than what waited outside. Within these walls, it was only Mom and me, her hands painting and sculpting me into someone I wasn't supposed to be. But when she said the words, "We're going out," my heart stopped. I spun in the chair, panic in my chest. Out? Like outside out. She gave me a patient smile, as though I were a child afraid of the dark. Of course. Experiments mean exposure. If no one sees you, if no one reacts, then what's the point? My palms went clammy. The idea of stepping beyond the threshold, dressed like this, felt like stepping into a firing squad. Mom didn't give me time to protest further. She pulled open the closet and revealed a neatly laid-out outfit she had clearly prepared. A soft cardigan, a pleated skirt that barely grazed mid-thigh, and ballet flats with a pink bow. "Mom, no, please," I whispered. "I'll look ridiculous." She only tilted her head. "You'll look adorable. And that's the problem. You don't see it yet. But you will." She dressed me with steady hands, buttoning the cardigan, smoothing the skirt over my trembling thighs. The flats slipped onto my feet like shackles disguised as shoes. When she led me to the mirror, I nearly cried. The transformation was complete now. Not just makeup, not just a necklace. A girl, soft, timid, fragile, stared back at me. My knees knocked together, unsure if they still belonged to me. Mom leaned down, whispering in my ear, her voice low and intoxicating.
"Danielle."
"Today the world meets you." The walk to the door felt like the longest of my life. Every step echoed with dread. The click of the latch was a gunshot. Sunlight spilled over me, warm and unforgiving. The world outside stretched wide. Neighbors, streets, shops, strangers with eyes that could see right through me. Mom clasped my hand, head high.
"Smile."
"No one will question you if you don't question yourself." Easy for her to say. She wasn't the boy in girls' clothing. We went to the corner store. I prayed every step that no one would notice. But the stares came anyway, not cruel, not mocking, but curious. Admiring even. The cashier, a teenage boy with messy hair, gave me a grin. "Hey there. Haven't seen you before. You new around here?" Blood rushed to my cheeks. My throat tightened. Words fumbled out in a whisper. "Wyatt, just visiting." His grin widened. "Well, welcome. You look really pretty." The words slammed into me like a blow and a caress at once.
"Pretty."
My chest constricted with shame, but deep beneath it, something else stirred, a dangerous warmth. On the walk back, my knees were still shaking. "Mom, he thought I was a girl," I hissed. She only laughed, her voice triumphant.
"Exactly.
The disguise worked.
See?
You're more convincing than you thought." I wanted to argue, to scream that it was wrong, but the boy's voice echoed in my head. Really pretty. And no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't shake the small, traitorous flutter it left behind. Daniel, now Danielle, has been seen in public for the first time, and not only accepted but complimented. His worst fear came true, yet it felt nothing like he expected. Instead of humiliation, a dangerous thrill lingers inside him. The morning after my first public outing, I woke up praying it had all been a nightmare. Maybe I had dreamt the skirt brushing against my thighs, the cashier calling me pretty, the way my heart fluttered in betrayal of everything I thought I was. But when I glanced at the chair beside my bed, reality was waiting for me. The neatly folded cardigan, the skirt, the flats. Mom had laid them out like school clothes for her daughter. I sank back into the pillow, groaning. "Please, Mom. Not again." She swept into my room, humming, her energy far too bright for my despair. "Not again? Oh, sweetheart, this is only the beginning. Today, you're not just dressing up. Today, you'll live the whole day as Danielle." My stomach flipped. All day. Her eyes gleamed. From breakfast to bedtime. Think of it as total immersion. "Don't worry, I'll guide you." She handed me a silky nightgown, insisting I change into it before breakfast. The fabric whispered against my skin, cool and intimate. I felt exposed, like I had no defenses left. At the mirror, she brushed out my hair with gentle strokes, humming softly. "You know," she said, "you are such a quiet baby." I always wondered if I'd ever have a daughter to fuss over like this. Her words pierced me. Was that what this was about? Filling the gap she never had? By the time I sat down at the table, I was no longer Danielle pretending. I was Danielle, in every stitch of fabric, every subtle gesture Mom demanded, sitting with my knees together, hands folded delicately. The worst part? She made me practice smiling, a soft, feminine curve of the lips that felt foreign yet terrifyingly natural. After breakfast, Mom announced her plan. "We're running errands," she said, slipping on her heels. "And you, Danielle, are coming with me." I froze. "No, please, Mom. I can't do this again." She gave me that patient but unyielding look. "You can. You already did yesterday. And didn't it go better than you feared?" My silence betrayed me. She was right, and she knew it. Every step across the polished floors echoed like thunder in my ears. Eyes flicked toward me. At least I thought they did. Maybe it was paranoia, maybe not. In a boutique, Mom handed me clothes to try on. Dresses.
Skirts.
Even lingerie. "Mom, no way," I hissed, clutching the lacy fabric. But she only pushed me toward the changing room. "Trust me, Danielle. The mirror will tell you the truth." Inside, I hesitated for what felt like hours. My reflection begged me not to go further. But curiosity, dread, and that twisted flutter of yesterday's compliment gnawed at me. I slipped the dress over my head. And when I turned to face the mirror, I gasped. The girl staring back was fragile yet radiant, her shoulders softened by the cut of the dress, her waist cinched, her eyes wide and vulnerable. For the first time, I didn't just look like a girl. I looked like someone who could be real. When I stepped out, Mom's expression was unreadable, but the saleswoman's wasn't. "Oh, you look lovely, dear," she cooed. "That color brings out your eyes." Heat surged to my face. I opened my mouth to protest, but the words tangled.
Dear.
Lovely. Two words that made Danielle shrink away and Danielle glow. By the time we left the mall, my shopping bag was full of clothes I never wanted to own. Yet my mind kept replaying the saleswoman's smile, her warm approval. As we walked back to the car, Mom squeezed my hand. "See, Danielle? The world accepts you. The only one resisting is you." I wanted to deny it, to scream she was wrong. But I couldn't. Not after the way my chest swelled at being called lovely. And for the first time, a terrifying thought flickered in the shadows of my mind. What if I don't want to resist anymore? Daniel has spent a full day living as Danielle, and though he tries to resist, the validation and compliments from strangers start to feel intoxicating. The line between disguise and identity blurs further. That night, after our exhausting day of errands, I collapsed onto my bed with shopping bags scattered across the floor. The air in my room smelled faintly of perfume from the boutique. Every corner was tainted with this new life Mom was forcing on me. I wanted to scream, to rip the clothes, toss the shoes out the window, tear my reflection to shreds. But instead, I sat at the edge of the bed, staring at my hands, nails filed neatly, the faintest shimmer of polish Mom had insisted on. It felt like the walls were closing in. Mom peeked in, carrying 2 mugs of tea. "You did so well today," she said warmly. "I'm proud of you." "Don't say that," I muttered. "Why not?" she asked, setting the mugs down. "You were graceful, polite, and no one suspected a thing. That saleswoman saw Danielle, not Daniel. Isn't that something?" Her voice was calm, but her eyes were sharp, testing me, dissecting me. I shook my head. "It's wrong. It's not me." But the memory of the saleswoman calling me lovely burned in my chest like a secret I couldn't extinguish. Mom leaned closer, almost whispering. "Then why did you smile when she said it?" My throat went dry. I had no answer. The next week, life should have returned to normal.
I was supposed to be Daniel again.
Jeans, t-shirts, sneakers. But Mom had other plans. "You've got that group project, don't you?" she asked over breakfast. "Yeah, we're meeting at Claire's place." Her lips curved into that sly smile. "Perfect. Then Danielle can join them." I nearly dropped my spoon.
Mom.
"They'll know." Claire is in half my classes, she'll see right through it. Mom shook her head.
No, she won't.
Girls see what they expect to see. Trust me, they'll accept Danielle without question. By the time I reached Claire's house, my heart was hammering so hard I thought it might split my ribs. Mom had dressed me in a casual sundress, flats, and a denim jacket. Perfectly ordinary, she claimed. My hair brushed my cheeks, lips tinted a shy pink. I stood at the door, trembling, clutching my notes. Please let them cancel. Please let them see through me. Please. The door swung open. Claire's eyes widened, then softened into a smile. Oh, hi. You must be Daniel's sister. Danielle, right? My blood froze. She believed it. She actually believed it. I nodded, forcing my voice to sound airy, higher, gentler. Why,
Danielle.
Inside, the group welcomed me as if I'd always been there. They chatted, laughed, included me in everything. For a while, I sat stiff, barely breathing. But then something strange happened. The tension in my shoulders eased. My giggle came too naturally when Claire told a joke. My legs folded neatly under the table like it was second nature. I wasn't just pretending anymore. I was being. And then it happened. When Claire handed me her notebook, I brushed a strand of hair behind my ear, smiled, and said without thinking, "Thanks, babe." The words slipped out like silk, effortless, natural. Everyone froze. My stomach lurched. I wanted to rewind time, swallow the word back, scream I didn't mean it. But Claire only smirked.
Cute, she said.
I like her already. Laughter rippled through the group. My face burned, but they weren't laughing at me. They were laughing with me. On the walk home, my mind spun in chaos. I had called Claire babe. I had giggled like a girl. No one suspected. No one doubted. But the scariest part wasn't that they believed. It was that for a few fleeting hours so did I. When Mom opened the door, she took one look at me and knew. "You slipped, didn't you?" she asked. I collapsed into her arms, trembling. "Mom, I forgot I wasn't Danielle." She stroked my hair with unsettling tenderness. Good. That means it's working. Daniel's first real slip into feminine instinct happens in front of others, and not only do they accept it, they embrace it. For the first time, Danielle feels more real than Daniel, leaving him terrified of how natural it's becoming. The mall's air-conditioned chill hit me as soon as we stepped inside, but it wasn't enough to calm the feverish anxiety pulsing through my body. The click of my heels echoed on the glossy floor, each step sending a wave of self-consciousness through me. Shoppers walked past, glancing once, twice, some smiling politely, some whispering. My hands trembled as I clutched Mom's designer purse. "Relax," Mom whispered, her hand gently brushing my shoulder. "You're stunning. No one sees a boy here. They see my daughter." Her words should have been comforting, but they dug into me like hooks.
A daughter.
Not a son. Not me. We stopped in front of a boutique with shimmering gowns displayed in the window. My stomach dropped. Of course she would take me somewhere impossible to hide. Inside, the scent of perfume and fabric softener hit me. A saleswoman beamed at us. "Oh, you brought your daughter for a fitting. How lovely, daughter." The word rang in my ears. Mom smiled proudly, her hand on my back, gently guiding me toward the racks of glittering dresses. "She has an event coming up," Mom said smoothly, as if this were the most natural thing in the world. "We'll need something elegant, feminine, unforgettable." I froze, but Mom's nails pressed against the small of my back, urging me forward.
"Go on."
"Look," she whispered in a tone that was both sweet and commanding. I trailed my fingers over silk, satin, sequins. Each touch made my pulse quicken. When the saleswoman pulled out a soft pink evening gown and held it against me, I nearly fainted. "Oh, this one's perfect for her figure," she said, not questioning for a second that I wasn't a girl. Before I could protest, I was ushered into the fitting room. My reflection glared back at me from 3 mirrors, curled hair, glossy lips, trembling eyes. Slowly, I slid into the dress. It hugged every inch of my body, soft fabric pressing against the bra and panties beneath. When I stepped out, Mom gasped softly, her eyes sparkling with pride. "My beautiful daughter," she said loud enough for the saleswoman and a couple of other shoppers to hear. The world tilted. My knees wobbled. People were staring, admiring, smiling. "Spin for me," Mom said gently. I turned, the hem of the gown sweeping around me like a wave. For one fleeting second I felt it, the strange rush of being pretty, desired. But then my throat tightened. A group of college boys walked past, one whistling low. "Damn, she's cute," he muttered. My face burned. They didn't know. They couldn't know. Mom leaned in, whispering, "See? The world believes what I tell them to. And now you do too." I bit my lip hard, trying not to cry as I realized the horrifying truth. She wasn't just dressing me up anymore. She was rewriting me in front of everyone's eyes, and I was powerless to stop her. And deep down, a part of me feared she might be succeeding. I slammed my bedroom door shut and leaned against it, gasping for air. My chest heaved beneath the bra Mom had insisted I keep on. The pink gown from the boutique still clung to me, heavy and suffocating, like a costume I couldn't peel away. But when I turned toward the mirror, I froze. The girl staring back wasn't just some trick of makeup and curls. She looked real, beautiful, terrified. Her eyes widened, mirroring my panic, and for a split second, I couldn't tell if I was looking at myself or someone else. My reflection tilted her head, lips glistening with gloss, hair brushing against delicate shoulders. I backed away, shaking my head.
No.
This isn't me. This can't be me. The door creaked open. Mom stepped in, holding a steaming cup of tea. "You are perfect today," she said softly, as if praising a child. She set the cup on my desk, then walked toward me with deliberate grace. "Mom, please," I whispered, my voice trembling. "I don't want this anymore." Everyone believed I was her. A girl. They called me pretty. They stared. "I can't." Her hands gripped my arms, firm yet tender. "Do you hear yourself? You say you can't, but you already did." They believed because it's true. You're beautiful, delicate, convincing. My daughter. I choked, my throat tightening as tears welled. "I'm your son." Her expression softened, but her eyes stayed unyielding. "Were you? You've always been so quiet, so invisible. No one saw you before. But today, everyone noticed you.
They wanted you."
The words struck deep. My knees buckled, and I sank to the edge of the bed, covering my face. My sobs tore through the silence. Mom knelt before me, gently pulling my hands away. "I know it's confusing. I know it hurts. But what you're feeling, that fear, that shame, it's proof that we're breaking down the walls you've built. Soon, you'll be free of that fragile boy who never knew his place." Her fingers brushed a curl from my cheek, smearing the faint trail of mascara left by my tears. "Look in the mirror again." "I don't want to." "You have to." Her voice hardened, commanding now. With shaking hands, I turned my head. The girl in the mirror stared back, eyes rimmed with red, lips trembling. She looked broken, yet heartbreakingly soft. Vulnerable. And in that moment, I realized something that made my stomach churn. I pitied her. I wanted to protect her. But she was me. "Mom," I whispered, voice cracking, "I don't know who I am anymore." Her smile was slow, victorious, terrifying.
"Good.
That means the experiment is working." The next morning, I woke up still in the dress. I hadn't even found the strength to undress after yesterday's breakdown. My pillow was stained with mascara, my hair a tangled mess of curls that no longer felt like mine. I sat up, staring at the closet across the room. My old clothes, my jeans, hoodies, sneakers, were gone. In their place hung dresses, blouses, skirts, and lingerie in pastel shades. Every hanger was another nail in the coffin of who I used to be. My throat tightened. She took everything. She erased him. "Rise and shine," Mom's voice called from the hallway. A moment later, she entered with a tray of breakfast, fruit, yogurt, and tea. You've got a busy day, sweetheart. I'm not doing this today, I muttered, my voice hoarse. She set the tray on my vanity and crossed her arms. You don't have a choice. Remember yesterday? Everyone believed you were my daughter. If you refuse now, all of that unravels. Do you want to risk someone asking questions? Do you want the truth to slip out? Her words struck like a whip. My chest tightened with panic. So, this is it? I'm just stuck like this forever? She crouched in front of me, her tones suddenly tender. Not forever. Just until you understand who you really are. I clenched my fists. I already know. I'm your son. Her hand shot out, gripping my chin, forcing me to meet her eyes. The sweetness drained from her face. Say it again, she hissed. I'm your son. No, her grip tightened. Look in the mirror when you say it. Tears blurred my vision as she dragged me to the vanity. My reflection stared back, makeup smudged, curls wild, a girl in a wrinkled gown. My lips trembled. I'm your son, I whispered, but the words sounded hollow.
Wrong.
Even my voice betrayed me, soft and breathy, too close to hers. Mom released my chin with a satisfied smirk.
Exactly.
The boy you think you were, he doesn't exist anymore. Everyone sees a girl. And soon, so will you. Later that afternoon, she insisted we go out again. This time, to a cafe. I tried to protest, but she dressed me in a pale lavender skirt and a lacy blouse before I could argue further. Walking into that cafe was like stepping into a spotlight. Heads turned. Conversations hushed. And then my stomach dropped. Across the room, at a table near the window, sat Ryan, my best friend from high school, the only person who had ever made me feel like I mattered. He looked up. Our eyes met. My blood ran cold. Mom, I hissed, tugging her sleeve. We have to leave.
Now.
But Ryan was already standing, a smile spreading across his face. He started walking toward us. I panicked, clutching my skirt to keep from trembling. Hey, he said warmly, stopping just a few feet away. His eyes scanned me up and down, soft hair, glossy lips, lavender skirt.
Wow.
I didn't know you had a sister. My heart stopped. Mom's hand slid to my back, pressing me forward. Her smile was calm, almost cruel. Ryan, this is my daughter. The word hit like a knife. Ryan extended his hand toward me. Nice to meet you. My whole body shook as I stared at his outstretched hand. My reflection in the cafe window confirmed the truth. The girl he saw was the girl I had become. And for the first time, I wasn't sure if I could correct him. I froze, staring at Ryan's hand as if it were a trap. My pulse thundered in my ears. This was the boy I'd laughed with, played video games with, trusted with secrets that no one else knew. And now he was standing here, looking at me like I was a stranger. I swallowed hard, forcing myself to take his hand. My grip was weak, trembling. Nice to meet you, I whispered. My voice betrayed me, soft, high, tentative. Not the voice Ryan remembered. His smile widened, and something in his eyes sparked. Admiration. Maybe even interest. My stomach flipped. So, he said, glancing at Mom. How come you never mentioned her before? Mom chuckled smoothly, draping an arm around me. She's been sheltered. But I thought it was time to let her spread her wings. I flinched at the word sheltered. It sounded like a cage. Ryan's eyes returned to me, lingering too long. Well, I'm glad you brought her out. She's really pretty.
Pretty.
The word sank deep, hitting places I didn't want to admit existed. My cheeks burned. My heart fluttered. Mom squeezed my shoulder knowingly, as if savoring my reaction. Why don't you join us, she suggested, gesturing toward our table. Before I could protest, Ryan nodded eagerly. Sure, I'd like that. We sat down. I tried to hide behind the menu, but Ryan kept looking at me, asking questions. So, what do you like to do? Play basketball.
Code.
Stay up all night gaming. But those words couldn't come out. Not when I sat there in a lavender skirt, my legs crossed neatly beneath the table. I like reading, I mumbled. His eyes lit up. No way, me too. What kind of books? I scrambled for something safe. Romance sometimes. Mom's smirk deepened across the table. She sipped her tea like a queen watching her pawns move perfectly into place. Ryan leaned closer, lowering his voice. You don't seem like the kind of girl who hides away with books. You've got presence. Presence.
Pretty. Girl.
Every word was a hammer pounding away at the last fragile walls of who I used to be. When the waiter came, Ryan insisted on ordering for me. She'll have the strawberry shortcake, he said, glancing at me with a wink. My lips parted. I wanted to correct him, to reclaim at least this one tiny choice. But Mom's nails dug into my thigh under the table, sharp enough to silence me. So I just nodded. The cake arrived, pink and delicate, crowned with whipped cream. Ryan slid it toward me. Thought it suited you. I picked up the fork with shaking fingers. My reflection in the spoon mocked me, a girl with flushed cheeks and wide, uncertain eyes. When I took a bite, Ryan's grin widened.
See?
Perfect.
Perfect.
I felt like I was drowning. As the cafe filled with a hum of chatter and clinking cups, Ryan leaned in, his tones suddenly softer. Hey, I know this might sound forward, but would you maybe want to hang out sometime? Just the two of us. My heart stuttered. My throat went dry. I opened my mouth. No words came. Mom's hand squeezed mine under the table, forcing it still, forcing me to listen. Yes, she answered for me, her smile sharp as glass. She'd love that. Ryan's eyes sparkled with victory.
Great.
I'll text you. Text me. He didn't even know who I really was. Or maybe he did. Maybe he only saw her. And for the first time, I realized so did I. The night air was cool against my skin as we stepped out of the cafe. The lights from the street lamps glowed in blurry halos, and my heels clicked softly against the pavement with every uneasy step. Ryan waved as he walked the opposite way, his voice echoing in my head. You're really pretty. We should hang out sometime.
Pretty. Perfect.
Presence. The words clung to me like perfume I couldn't wash off. Mom strolled beside me, her arm looped through mine as if we were the closest of friends. Her perfume, floral and sharp, surrounded me, intoxicating and suffocating all at once. You handled yourself beautifully, she said finally, her voice rich with pride. Ryan couldn't take his eyes off you. I stopped walking, my breath fogging in the night air. He thought I was a girl. Mom tilted her head, smiling slyly. Isn't that the point? My chest tightened.
No.
That's not the point. He's my best friend, Mom. If he finds out, if he realizes. She pressed a manicured finger against my lips, silencing me. Sweetheart, he doesn't want to realize. Men only see what they're shown. And what he saw tonight was a delicate, blushing girl who made his heart race. I shook my head, my voice breaking. But that's not me. Her grip on my arm tightened, nails digging just enough to sting. Isn't it? She asked softly, almost dangerously. Think carefully. When he called you pretty, did it hurt? Or did it make you feel something you don't want to admit? I froze, unable to answer. Because the truth was, I had felt it. A spark. A strange, terrifying flutter deep in my stomach. Mom saw it in my eyes, and her smile curved like a blade. That's what I thought. We walked in silence for a while. Every sound, the swish of my skirt, the faint clicking of my shoes, felt like proof that my old self was fading. Finally, I whispered, You set me up, didn't you? Her laugh was soft, almost musical.
Of course I did.
Ryan was the perfect test. And look at you, you passed with flying colors. My knees went weak. Test? What kind of test? She stopped under a streetlight, turning me to face her. Her eyes glittered in the glow. To see if you could survive being wanted, desired. Seen not as a boy fumbling through life, but as a girl worth chasing. My stomach nodded. So that's it? I'm just your experiment? Your daughter, she interrupted firmly, her hands cupping my cheeks. Don't you see? The experiment is working. You're becoming exactly who you were meant to be. Her voice was soothing, commanding, unstoppable. And I hated myself for the shiver that ran down my spine when she whispered the next words. Soon, darling, you won't even remember what it felt like to be him. When we finally reached home, I slipped into my room and shut the door. My reflection in the mirror stared back at me. Flushed cheeks, glossy lips, wide, frightened eyes. Ryan's voice echoed in my head again. She's really pretty. We should hang out sometime. For the first time, I pressed my palms against the mirror, my breath fogging the glass, and whispered the question I'd been too afraid to ask. What if I like being her? The thought terrified me more than anything Mom could do. My phone buzzed on the nightstand, the vibration loud in the silence of my room. I froze, staring at it like it was a ticking bomb. My heart was still sore from the night with Ryan, from his words, from Mom's cruelly sweet whisper echoing in my head. Soon, darling, you won't even remember what it felt like to be him. I reached out slowly, fingers trembling as I picked it up. The message glowed on the screen. Ryan, hey, had fun tonight. You free Friday? Maybe just us this time? I nearly dropped the phone. My pulse hammered in my ears. Just us? He still thought that I was a girl. I stared at the text, my hands shaking. A part of me wanted to throw the phone across the room. Another part, one I didn't recognize, wanted to scream with excitement. The door creaked open. Mom slipped inside, her eyes immediately finding the glow of the screen. She didn't even need to ask, she already knew. Her lips curved.
Well.
He couldn't wait long, could he? I swallowed hard. I can't do this. He thinks I'm a girl. Mom finished for me, stepping closer, her heels clicking against the wooden floor. Because that's exactly what you are to him. To everyone. I shook my head, panic rising in my throat. No, Mom, this is wrong. He's my best friend. If he finds out, her hand shot out, cupping my chin, tilting my face up to hers. If he finds out, he'll see the truth. That his best friend isn't a boy fumbling through life, but a beautiful young woman who deserves to be adored. My breath hitched. I can't. Her nails grazed my jaw, her smile sharp. You will, and you'll thank me later. She sat me down at the vanity, flicking on the bright mirror lights. My reflection stared back, pale and frightened. Mom stood behind me, her hands resting on my shoulders like a puppeteer. You'll go on this date, she said softly, almost tenderly. And you'll show Ryan the girl he already believes in. No more hiding. I squeezed my eyes shut. Please, Mom, don't make me. Her voice hardened, dropping the pretense of gentleness. This isn't about what you want. This is about survival. About becoming. Do you understand? I opened my eyes. The girl in the mirror looked back, makeup still smudged from the night, hair loose and tangled, lips trembling. She didn't look like me. She looked like someone I was losing myself to. And yet, when I pictured Ryan's smile, the way his eyes had lingered, I felt that same dangerous flutter in my stomach. I hated it. I needed it. Mom leaned close, her breath warm against my ear. Text him back. Tell him yes. My thumb hovered over the keyboard. My entire body shook as I typed the word. Me yes. The message sent. A tiny sound. So small, yet it felt like the world had collapsed around me. Mom kissed the top of my head, triumphant. Good girl. And that was the first time those words didn't just feel like control. They felt like approval. Approval I didn't want to crave. Approval I couldn't resist. The hours before Friday blurred together like a fever dream. Every time I thought about Ryan, my stomach twisted, equal parts dread and a strange, guilty thrill. Mom had spent the last 2 days preparing me. Dresses were pulled from bags, lingerie pressed into my hands, makeup tutorials drilled until I could contour my cheekbones and draw lips without smearing. You'll thank me later, she kept saying, each time her brush swept across my face, each time her fingers zipped me into something tighter, shorter, more revealing. And now, here I was, standing at the top of the stairs in a red dress that hugged me like a second skin. Heels strapped to my trembling feet. My nails painted the same shade as my lipstick. My hair, long and soft, curled around my shoulders.
The doorbell rang.
I froze, clutching the banister as though it might keep me from collapsing. Mom's smile was sharp as she opened the door. "Ryan," she said warmly, "come in. She's just finishing up."
She.
I swallowed, my throat dry, as Ryan stepped inside. He wore a simple button-down shirt, his hair brushed back, his smile boyish and nervous. He looked good. Too good. His eyes found me, and for a second, time stopped. His breath hitched, just slightly.
"You look wow," he said.
His voice cracked on the last word, and I wanted the floor to swallow me whole. Mom nudged me forward, whispering in my ear, "Smile, darling. You're his date tonight." I forced my lips upward, and Ryan's face softened. He held out his hand. "Shall we?" The restaurant was dimly lit, all golden lights and hushed conversations. Every clink of silverware made me flinch. I tugged at the hem of my dress, terrified it would ride up too high, reveal too much. But Ryan didn't seem to notice. His eyes never left me. "You're different tonight," he said, sipping his drink. "Different." My voice was shaky, pitched higher than I meant. He smiled. Confident. Beautiful. The words burned. I should have corrected him, told him the truth, ripped off the mask. But instead, a warmth spread through me. My cheeks flushed. My lips parted in something like a smile. Mom's voice echoed in my head. They'll never see him again. Only her. I hated her for being right. Halfway through dinner, Ryan leaned closer, his hand brushing mine on the table. My heart slammed against my ribs. "Can I ask you something?" he murmured. What? "Why haven't we done this before? I mean, I've always liked you, but tonight," his eyes searched mine, vulnerable, hopeful. "Tonight, I can't stop looking at you." I couldn't breathe. I wanted to scream, to run. But his hand was warm, grounding, dangerous. And for a terrifying, intoxicating moment, I didn't want to pull away. When Ryan walked me to the door later, Mom lingered in the background, watching with a smile I didn't trust. Ryan's hand lingered on mine, his voice soft. "Can I see you again?" I opened my mouth, desperate to say no, to end this lie. But what came out was, yes. His grin was bright, boyish, unguarded. "Good night, beautiful." The word lodged in my chest, heavy and unbearable. Mom's whisper followed me inside, her breath hot against my ear as she closed the door.
"See?
You were perfect. And now you're his." I didn't sleep. Not really. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Ryan's face, the softness in his eyes when he called me beautiful. The word replayed like a broken record, weaving itself into the cracks of my mind. By morning, I couldn't tell if I hated it or needed it. Mom didn't wait long. She was already in my room by breakfast, arms crossed, eyes sharp. "So," she said casually, "how was your first real date?" I glared at her through bloodshot eyes. It wasn't a date. Her lips curved. Ryan thought it was. My stomach twisted. She was right. He had looked at me as if I was someone else, someone softer, prettier, worth reaching for. Mom set a delicate box on my vanity. "You're going to see him again. So tonight, you'll wear this." I didn't move, didn't open it. I was terrified of what was inside. "I don't want to see him again," I whispered. Her hand shot out, gripping my chin so tightly my jaw ached. "You already said yes. Do you want to humiliate him? Break his heart? Make him wonder why the girl of his dreams suddenly disappeared?" Her words cut deep. Because I knew Ryan. Knew how badly rejection would crush him. But I wasn't the girl of his dreams. I wasn't a girl at all. My throat burned.
"Mom, please."
"I can't keep lying to him." Her grip loosened, but her smile was cruelly sweet. "You're not lying. You're evolving." That night, Ryan picked me up again. This time, I didn't even fight Mom as she zipped me into the pale blue dress from the box. I didn't protest when she styled my hair, when she dusted my cheeks with blush, when she clasped the pearl necklace around my throat. Because deep down, some shameful, hidden part of me wanted Ryan to look at me that way again. Wanted to feel wanted. We walked by the river after dinner, the city lights flickering across the water. Ryan kept stealing glances at me, smiling like he couldn't help himself. Finally, he stopped, turning to face me. I need to tell you something. My heart lurched. What? I think I'm falling for you. The words shattered me. My breath hitched, and I stumbled back. Ryan, you. But he stepped closer, his hands gentle on my arms. No. Don't say anything yet. I've never felt this way before. And tonight it feels right. My throat closed. My chest heaved. I wanted to scream the truth, to rip away the illusion. But his eyes, those earnest, unguarded eyes, silenced me. I didn't answer. I couldn't. Instead, I let him kiss me. His lips were warm, tentative, searching. My knees went weak. My mind screamed in protest, but my body betrayed me. My hands clutched his shirt, holding him close. And when I finally pulled back, breathless and terrified, the girl in the reflection of the river's surface looked nothing like the boy I used to be. She looked like someone falling in love. When I returned home, Mom was waiting in the darkened living room, her smile knowing, predatory. So, she said, her voice a velvet blade, how does it feel to be wanted as her? I collapsed onto the couch, burying my face in my hands. My sobs tore through the silence. Because the worst part wasn't that Ryan kissed me. It was that I had kissed him back. The next morning, I didn't want to get out of bed. My lips still tingled from Ryan's kiss, and every time I touched them, my chest tightened. I wasn't supposed to feel this way. I wasn't supposed to want it. But I had. And that scared me more than anything. Mom didn't let me wallow. She swept into my room, carrying her coffee, like a queen surveying her kingdom. You're glowing, she said smugly, as if she had planned the whole thing. I shot her a glare. I'm not glowing. I'm confused. Confused? She set the cup down, arching an eyebrow. Darling, confusion is just resistance to the truth. I sat up, clutching the blanket around me. What truth? Her eyes softened in a way that made me more afraid than when she was cold. She sat beside me, her voice low, almost intimate. The truth that you were never meant to be him. That's why everything feels wrong when you try to fight it. That's why it feels right when Ryan holds you. My breath caught. My heart hammered so loud I swore she could hear it. That's not true, I whispered. I'm just caught in your game. Her hand brushed my hair back, her touch strangely tender. Sweetheart, don't you see? This isn't a game. This is who you really are. I shook my head violently, tears burning my eyes.
No.
You made me into this. You forced me. Did I? She interrupted sharply. Or did I simply give you permission to become what you already wanted? Her words ripped through me, because deep down, I remembered the quiet moments. The times I lingered in front of the mirror too long. The secret thrill the first time the dress hugged my skin. The way Ryan's kiss had made something inside me melt instead of recoil. Maybe she hadn't planted the seed. Maybe she had only watered it. That night, I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I kept hearing her words. This is who you really are. If that was true, then who was I? A son pretending to be a daughter? Or a daughter who had been trapped as a son all along? And worst of all, what would Ryan say if he ever learned the truth? The chapter ends with me standing in front of my mirror at midnight, makeup streaked from crying, the dress still clinging to me. I whispered to my reflection, voice shaking. Who am I really? And for the first time, the girl staring back didn't look like an imposter. She looked like a stranger I was afraid to meet.